All right, we are streaming.
Well, hello, hello. Let me see if I see everybody's beautiful face. I can. Well, good evening, good evening, good evening to everybody out there in Facebook land. How are you? How are you? Well, just come in. And we're excited about having you with us and tuning in with us. This is Dr. Carolyn, CEO and visionary of the I Am a Black Woman, I Am a Black Man Ascension of the Kings Project. And we're super excited. You know, this is I Am a Black Man Week, one-on-one, up close and personal with some of the king authors of the newly released book that you ought to have already ordered. I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings. And if you had not ordered the book, which why haven't you ordered the book? You should be maybe working on ordering the second copy for somebody. That's what I'm thinking. But guess what? If you had not ordered the book, I'm going to tell you where you got to go and get it. Okay, real easy. Take you a few moments. You go to www.bossladypress.com. That's where you would go and pre order your copy of the book. All right. And listen, if you have already ordered your copy of the book, go tell a friend. They need to get it, they need to order it. If you've been with us all week long, you have heard some of these fine, fine, awesome kings who wrote this fantastic book. And so, can you imagine just listening to their testimonies and listening to their hearts, what the book must be like? It's going to be a phenomenal experience, and you need to be a part of that experience. So, before we introduce another one of our kings on tonight, let me first introduce our host for this evening. You know her, you've seen her all week, and you've seen her all over Facebook. All right, the boss lady herself, none other than Miss Darshelle McAlpine, CEO of Boss Lady Press and now CEO of Boss Lady Media. How you doing on this evening, Miss Darshelle? You're looking that necklace is to die for.
I am doing fabulous, and I commandeered this from Mr. Moody, who owns a boutique and does hair here in the Houston area. Mr. Alfred Moody is an icon in Houston, and so I've been by his shop many times for shopping excursions, and you can get some things you can't get anywhere else over there.
Mr. Moody. And is there a name for his shop? Because I gotta go get me a piece. I love that piece you have on. Does he have a
I
name?
don't know the name of his shop. Double take maybe, because he always uses that phrase, so it might be double talk. I just call him and say, hey, I'm coming over.
Wow. Well, we got to find out what the name of that shop is, and we got to put that up and blast his business out because the jewelry is popping. That is absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, we like to support Black business. So, Mr. Moody, if you ever hear this replay, I'm wanting a piece of that jewelry, man. I gotta have it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Well, if you all tuned in with us on last night, we got a chance to meet one of our other king authors of the I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings book, Mr. Andre King. And I tell you what, an interview. We have been truly in the presence of kings all week long. And it has been an exciting, exciting journey. And we started out with King Arthur Melvin White. And then we went over to King Arthur Damian Ballantyne. And then last night we were with King Arthur Andre King. And those three gentlemen just came and took us by storm. And it was awesome. And on tonight, I'm super excited because we have another one of our King authors on tonight. But before we introduce him, let's get a little bit of housekeeping kind of out the way. So, you know that every night we ask you to share. So you need to hit that share button, okay? You need to hit the share button because if you don't hit it, you won't be able to win what's available on for you tonight. But we've had winners thus far. We had Patricia Johnson, who won a free copy of the ebook version of I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings. We had Miss Yvette Bradford Harris, who won a hard copy of the newly released book, I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings. Now, going to do something a little special for you because we realized that we had a couple of tech issues last night. And so our session was kind of going out, a little bit of freezing. So you guys may not have heard what the drawing was for last night. And I just don't want anybody to miss it because it's phenomenal. If I wasn't a part of the project and I wasn't automatically disqualified, my name would be in the pot because I'm talking about I would win that. I mean, if you are an aspiring author, if you have got your manuscript, but you need some help. I mean, you just almost there. You need to, if you know somebody who's an aspiring author, you need to text them and say, get on here right now, because this giveaway is going to be just for them. But I'm going to tell you something else I'm going to do tonight. Okay, so since we won't kind of count the drawing from last night, I'm going to have Miss Darshell explain what the drawing is for tonight. Okay, that means you got to share because we're going to search and we're going to see. You can't share it to your groups. You have to share it on your public page, okay? And we'll look out and see who's sharing, all right? But I do have a winner. I have a winner for another copy of the book, and I'm gonna give this automatic. We're not gonna draw because she has been sharing every single night. Not only has she been sharing every single night, but every single post that we put up about the session, about the book, about the movement, about the project. Every time I look, this queen is always sharing. So I said, you know what? She's gone way beyond the drawing. She just has to automatically be in there. So tonight, our winner for another copy of the book, I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings, is none other than my queen sister, Miss Darshell's BFF, Lynn Randallson. So Lynn, if you are watching, okay, you get an automatic copy of the book. And I know you're very supportive. You probably already ordered it, but now you got two, queen. All right, so just know you won that tonight. Now, who's going to be the winner for the prize on tomorrow? Ms. Darshell, explain to everybody what the prize will be for tomorrow.
For those of you that have been supporting this project, the I Am a Black Woman, I Am a Black Man project, and those who have been this week sharing and those who are sharing specifically tonight, we want to say thank you first. Boss Lady Press, we love creating authors, encouraging you to finish that manuscript. And so in the spirit of creating authors, we have decided to give away what is a $500 value. That is a layout of your manuscript. Whenever you look at a book and you open that book, there's a science behind how those things are put together. And we do that here with the spirit of excellence. And we would love to help you finish your manuscript by laying it out for you. So if you are watching and you are sharing, not to your groups, but to your public page, your name will go in the drawing. And then tomorrow we'll be announcing who has won the $500 layout for their manuscript.
That is phenomenal. I mean, do you guys know what that means? Like, you could have already typed up your manuscript, and I know you're really proud of it, but you know you can't just turn that into a book, right? Because that's too raw. You got to have a professional person, a genius like Miss Darshell, to lay it out so it can be aesthetically pleasing, okay? So it looks like a book. And guess what? That's something you got to pay for. But tonight, if you click the share button, your name's going to go in a drawing. You can get that part of it done for free. So click on the button. Listen, it might not be you. You might know a friend. So tell a friend, click on the button, okay? And they can win that on tonight. So without further ado, we're going to go in. This handsome fellow that you see sitting over here in all of his blue, looking real cool, okay? This is one of the I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings, King authors, my friend, my brother, Mr. Curtis Holmes. And I want to tell you a little bit about Curtis. So Curtis was born in Aberdeen, Mississippi. All right. But he grew up in West Point, Mississippi. So I know where West Point is. Not real sure about where Aberdeen is, but I know about West Point. At the age of 3, he was separated from his biological family and placed in a foster home and then adopted by Mr. Nathaniel Holmes and Mrs. Macy Holmes. He attended West Point High School and participated in various school activities. He went on to attend Central Georgia Technical College, where he attained his associate degree in industrial maintenance. After accepting God's calling on his life, he preached his first sermon in 2014. He is currently working on his bachelor's degree in theology. He married his soulmate, Mrs. Elizabeth Holmes, who I know is listening, watching right now, in 1996. Mr. and Mrs. Holmes are the proud parents of a daughter, Princess Holmes of the U.S. Navy, and a son, Cortez Holmes of the U.S. Marine Corps. Curtis has been a faithful member of First Baptist Church in Warner Robins, Georgia, since 2008. So tonight we're going to get up close and personal with King author Curtis Holmes. How are you doing tonight, King?
I'm doing real good. Doing real good.
You're doing real good. All right, you're looking mighty cool up there on that screen. Well, we are just excited about having you coming and being with us on tonight. So I think want to just go to Ms. Darshell and ask you a question, Ms. Darshell, as we talk to Curtis on tonight. So tell us a little bit about what it was like, because I know your experiences in working with each one of these King authors. Each experience was a little bit different. So what was your experience like working with Curtis?
Well, Curtis is compliant. Curtis, first of all, he had his manuscript probably 3 months before anyone else was ready. He was finished and done and ready to do business long before. Now, I heard that he was tag teamed into writing the project. I'm not going to speak on that. I'm going to let him talk about that. But by the time I met him, I'd already had his manuscript. It was finished. And he just happened to pop into town, and we got some pictures of Curtis. And I got the opportunity to spend the day with him and Miss Elizabeth. And let me tell you something about Curtis. Don't let Curtis fool you over there looking all like he handle business and he just quiet and he don't, no evil has he done all day. Curtis is a comedian.
Yes.
So, yes. You must know that about him. He is a comedian, and he and his wife are just sweet, sweet people. So working with him has been seamless. If I say, Curtis, I'm going to need you to fix this, Curtis say, okay. I say, Curtis, I need you to adjust this. Curtis say, okay. And then he does it like right away. Like I don't have to wait for it. So, I'm not going to talk about the other gentleman in the project who may have not done that as expeditiously. But I take 10 Curtises to work with. He was very compliant and just followed through. And of course, was just a cool dude to work with.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Mr. Curtis, you are by far compliant. Is definitely, that could be that military background. I'm thinking maybe that might be part of it. So Curtis, I want to start out by asking a question. Okay. I want you to just kind of talk about how you came on the project, and most of all, why did you do it? Why did you decide to be a part of this project, of the movement? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Good to see you all tonight.
Yes, good to see you.
When I was approached to write the book, my part, it was through Dr. Carolyn. My wife actually met you through I'm a Black Woman, and then she came to me and she brought you to me one Sunday morning after church, and we collaborated right there and talked, and I said yes. And the reason I said yes was I had already been contemplating about writing about my life story, about being separated from my family. a biological family. So I was already contemplating that. I just was trying to figure out how to do it and what route to go.
Mhm.
But when it to me, then from there, I did. That's reason I didn't hesitate too long in saying yes, because as your motto is, I'm gonna say it's a motto: slow no and a fast yes. So
Yes, yes.
I did it because I knew I was already thinking of it. So I wanted
That's
to go
awesome.
and go ahead and do it because I know I'm not the only person in the world who is separated from the family. I'm just one of them. And since I'm one of them, I wanted to put mine out there and tell about what happened and some of the things I went through along the way until the end of where I am. So that's
Wow,
why.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And Curtis was, yes, again, he was very compliant. So Curtis, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret, because you know how women are. You know, we're planners. And
Yeah.
so I did the smart thing. I went to your wife and I talked to her about it. And she said, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And she said, but ask him, but he's going to do it. And she says, honey, that's what she calls him. She says, honey's going to do it, and we're gonna make him great. So Curtis, we sort of already kind of had a plan before we came to you, I have to confess. But yes, I did. When I came to Curtis, I said, I need a man. And he was like, that's all I said was I need a man. And he's
Lord
like,
have mercy.
he said, excuse me. And I said, I need a man for this project. And I said, now wait a minute, just give me a slow no and a fast yes. But he said, okay. But he was compliant. His wife, Queen Elizabeth, and I were like, yes. But Curtis, we had already talked about it, so I'm just gonna just tell you the truth. We already met on it, and then we had another person, Miss Yvette Bradford Harris, who decided to get on Curtis's Holmes team. So we three of us came together, and we kind of decided how we were gonna come to you and get you all done up and everything. And so yeah, that's women though. But we thank you so much for agreeing with the plan. See how beautiful things work out.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? So Ms. Darshell, I know you have some questions, some things you want to start out by asking Curtis. So what's on your mind tonight to talk to this beautiful king about?
So I want to start by saying that Curtis is he is a minister. He is a man of God, and we tease with him. He said, I know y'all be trying to behave when I'm around. Y'all be trying to keep it, I said, we just respecting your anointing. You know what I'm saying? We try not to just be completely ignorant when you around. We trying to respect your anointing.
Right.
But then he put a bug in my ear about the other Curtis. There is another Curtis
I heard
that pre-existed this one.
Yeah.
And word on the street is that we might see that manuscript coming forth before long. Curtis, talk to us about how I don't want to talk much about your story per se, because you want to hear Curtis's story. You have to go to www.bossladypress.com and order the book.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about, there's a part in the story, just to briefly, that you didn't go into, but talk about that time before you really committed to the plan of God for your life. Talk about that space of time. Where were you in your head? Why were you, as Saul said, kicking against the prick?
Okay.
And how did you make the change? How did you adjust?
Okay. In growing up, I was always a bit curious, and once I got to a certain age, I became pretty much my curiosity got the best of me. So I kind of, even though I never lost the way my dad brought me up, I never lost faith. I never got to the point where I was too far away. But because in the hands of God, you can never be too far away. He's always just a reach away. He's always a prayer away. So during the time that I was running around, doing what I was doing, I still prayed, still went to church. I still did all those things, but in the other things that I was doing, it wasn't godlike,
Mhm.
you know. So what I did, I ran women for a while. I did all that kind of stuff, and then, but in doing all of that, I still was in church. I was a church boy. Some people back when I was growing up, they kind of put me in the position of what they said, choir boy. If you remember the movie Fire Heartbeat,
Yeah.
he did what, the stuff he did. So they looked at me kind of like that, because no matter where I went, I still had the church background. I couldn't sing a R&B song because you heard a little bit of choir in there, you might say, a little bit of gospel. No matter what I would do, even if I went somewhere, I couldn't act up because I was the way I was raised. So I did certain things, but in what I did, still showed the Christ in me.
Mhm.
I still tried to act bad. I still tried to do some of the things I did. So promiscuity was all in there. All that type of stuff was in there, and so running women was in there as well.
Now you so for our Facebook listeners, Curtis is from down south. And so in down south, that's what they call it, running women. Up north, they call it, Melvin will tell you what they call it up north.
Okay, it take Melvin to just come on out and just
tell you what you call it up north. But Curtis, down south, they say running women. And, my grandmother's from the south, my grandfather's from the south, actually from Mississippi. And so a lot of times people don't understand those phrases. So we want to clarify if you need to understand what Curtis was talking about.
Thank you.
Now, Curtis, you met Elizabeth. If I remember correctly, were you teaching at the time?
I was a substitute teacher in school. And in one of the, well, actually I did from elementary all up to high school, I was teaching.
Curtis, who let you teach their kids? Go ahead and tell me who did it.
Well, I always liked the teaching aspect. I always was thrilled about doing stuff like that, because I looked at kids as being able to be molded real well. Once you get a child to listen to you, they can be molded in the right direction. That is, with positivity, you can mold them in the right direction. So substitute teaching wasn't just a side job. It was something I did because I was looking at children. Even though I was young, I still looked at the fact that I wanted to help children. So that's the reason I did that. And
do you think some of that came from, obviously you were raised well, despite having gone through what you went through as a young boy? You were, I think, somewhere around 3. But do you think some of that passion for teaching and maybe molding came from what your experience?
The teaching, the way my dad brought me up, he was always in the teaching mode. And so by me doing what the way I was brought up, he would teach us by the word. And so he would always put us in a position where he would show us different things, and he would go outside, he'd show us stuff outside. We drive in the car. He was always saying things that would put us in the situation that that's being taught. And so for some reason I gravitated toward that way. And plus I was in ROTC for like 3 years, and I went toward a leadership position. So that helped as well too. So I always enjoyed the leadership role. And so when I got to the children, I just gravitated toward them enough to want to teach them and show them what's right, what's wrong, what not to do, and all that type of stuff.
So how long did you teach?
I taught, I think it was around about 2 years.
About 2 years you were teaching?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me. I have been to Warner Robins one time.
Okay.
My brother was in a play. And if you sneeze, you run right through it.
That's it.
And there's a little restaurant right now on the corner, and everybody talking about it. And Caroline's or somebody over there making rice and chicken and beans and stuff. I didn't think it was that hot, but people was far. There were lines out the door, and it's around the corner from this little church. And I thought it was the only church there. Little white church. So Why Warner Robins? Why? What made you gravitate to that space? I mean, it's like it's so tiny. I just passed right through it. So what made you decide to park there to take up roots there?
Okay. What I did, after I came home, um, I had to work. So in one of the jobs I picked, I was working on another job, and I wasn't too thrilled about working on that job because I'm not the type of guy to have somebody stand on my shoulders and tell me what to do all day long. I'm you know. So with that, I heard a guy one day, he said, I'm going back to driving trucks. So when I heard that, I'm like, so what do I need to do to drive trucks then? So I went and found out what I needed to do. I went down to Jackson, Mississippi, made my license, and I started driving. And in my driving, all the states I went through, I came through Georgia, and Warner Robins was on my route on my way to Florida. And so I rode around the town, looking around and saw it. I liked it. Plus, I had family over in Savannah and Brunswick, Georgia. And then I had family in Mississippi. I said, well, let me just split the difference. So this is where I am. I split halfway between, more closer to Savannah than I am Mississippi, but still, I can get to both of them.
It's about an hour and a half from Atlanta.
I lived in Warner Robins for a little while.
Did you?
Yeah, that's how I met Yvette. I lived there. Yeah, so it's about that small.
It is. You come down through there. You just run right through.
It's very well policed though. It's a military town, right, Curtis? Would you say it's a military sort of?
It is. Our base is right here in town. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a military town. It's like a place where people they come out of the military, they retire. So it's
Base is operational, so everyone comes in, they work on the base, the planes coming in and out. So yeah, a lot of people come in, some instead of leaving and going other places, they sit there and they retire here. They love it here. Yeah. It's a nice area.
So Curtis, you're one of the quiet ones in the group.
Yes.
But you're always encouraging, and I noticed that. I watch you. You are supportive. You're always encouraging the brothers. You're always in that background. You're always supporting. You're always posting. You're always talking about what the movie. You are a quiet storm, if you will. Talk to me about what it's like to be a part of this brotherhood.
Okay. Being part of this group, it's different because true enough, I am quiet. And I mostly keep to myself. I don't pick up a whole lot of friends along the way. If I meet you along the way, we become acquaintances and I talk to you here and there. But as far as just continually keeping in contact, I don't do a whole lot of that. But when I do meet people and I make a real good connection with you, yes, I will continue to do it, whether it's Facebook or some other social media area. But phone, I'm more of a phone guy. I'll call you before I post you. So I'd rather talk to you ear to ear versus putting something on Facebook or Instagram, stuff like that. I'd rather do it that way. But being with this brotherhood here, because we wrote the book, being with these guys here, I've learned a lot more, just learning how they are. Even though I hadn't read none of the stories, just listening to them, I see that I can have some relation because of what they're going through. All of what they're going through, I hadn't, but part of it, I have. Okay, so like Damien, when he talked the other night, I can't relate fully with that because he said he didn't have time for women. He didn't have time to because he was raising his son. Me, I was raising my son because I had my wife with me, so I couldn't relate with him because me and my wife we had pretty much said from the beginning, no matter what we go through, no matter how hard it gets, we're gonna stay together. And so, and plus because I said that. In my growing up, I never met my dad. I couldn't tell you what he looked like. I'm assuming I do look like him, but because I never looked like him, or I'm sorry, I never met him, I wanted to always stay there with my children. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said I can't relate to Damien. I missed Melvin's on Monday night, but Mr. Andre, I can't fully relate to his either. But at the same time, in a portion of it, I can. Because he said he ran women and all, so I can relate a little bit to that. He did a whole lot more because he's lived longer,
You hear that, Dad?
Yeah.
but I relate a little bit to them because of some of the things we've all gone through. So being on the project with these guys here, I can see some of the relationship that we can have, some of the things we've gone through separately, but yet we're bringing it together in order to show other people that you can get past many things in order to be where you need to be, where God would rather have you to be.
There's a
Do you
lot of
think
things that happen in the Black experience. Black
that's what I was
men,
gonna ask? Yeah.
we didn't talk a lot about domestic violence necessarily in the book. We, and that's coming in another episode, so to speak. We didn't talk a lot about some of the police brutality that men experience, that Black men experience. And part of the reason for that is because we see so much of that, and it is important for us to stand in solidarity against it, to not just talk about it, but to actively pursue legislation that will change it. But it's also important for us to see Black men as men, to see them in their space, taking care of their children. And when we talk about likenesses, one of the things you talk about is being there for your children, specifically because you hadn't met your biological dad. You ran into him on the street, you wouldn't know who he was, but that space caused you to be a different kind of father. And Alpine talks about that he is a different kind of father because he didn't have his father in growing up. He talks about purposely focusing and fighting to be there for his children. But something else she said that intrigues me, you and Elizabeth early on decided that no matter what, you were going to hold on to it. And I imagine that has been challenged from time. How long have you guys been together?
23 years.
How many?
23.
23 years.
23.
Was it difficult?
Oh yeah. It was very difficult, but we made it.
You made it.
I made it real challenging, and I wasn't meaning to. It's just I did.
You did.
I,
I can't. You are a challenging personality, Curtis.
yeah. I know y'all say I'm compliant and real easy to get along with. She'll say different.
You grew to that. Are you growing?
I grew to the point where y'all see me now is how she see me now. But before then, no, it took some loving.
So as a Black man, talk to me about the challenge. What was it that made you difficult? And what was it that is changing you? What is it that's changing you?
The difficult part that we had to go through, I had a wandering eye. Okay, my eye always, even though I was married, I was still looking around. Okay, and so that made it difficult for her to try to talk to me. And so I never told a lie. I didn't tell her a lie. When she asked me different things, I tell her the truth. So yeah, my eye was wondering. So whenever, like I said, that's why it made it challenging for her, because anytime she could have left me because of the stupid stuff I was doing or even saying, but she stayed, because even though we made that decision way early, she still stayed because she could have left at any time. And the children was there the whole time. But what kept us together, because we knew from the background we came from, we knew that our parents they were together. All right, so we wanted to try to keep that thing going. No matter what we went through, we wanted to still keep it going. So once it came to the point when I started acting crazy, and it came forth, so I started. She wanted to leave. We had one lady that talked to her and told her stay there, because that was one moment she wanted to leave. She really wanted to leave, but this was a pastor's wife, and she said stay there. And that pastor's wife, if she's listening, I appreciate her for that now, because that was a day that she could have left. And since she stayed, we got a whole lot better. We got a whole lot closer. We're stronger together. And all those things that we have become together is because she stayed. Because I promise you, if it had been on my part, or because if the pastor hadn't been there, it'd been over way before we started. And my kids would have been just like I was without a dad in their life.
How about that?
Together also is Christ. He's keeping us together now, because now we're stronger. Because when we first got married, yeah, like I said, I grew up in the church, but still I was doing different things. But now, when I got older, I understand a whole lot better. So Christ is keeping us together now.
That's a blessing. Dr. Carolyn.
This is okay. And so, and I think everybody understands this phrase he used, wandering eye, right? Does everybody understand that? Okay. And I always like to put in a phrase like I did with Melvin, a connoisseur of women.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you, Curtis, for being transparent, because we may have some kings on this broadcast tonight that have a wandering eye. But okay, so kind of explain that in terms of men are going to look at women. Men are going to admire beautiful women, which I don't know, I'm not married, but Ms. Darsha, you're married. I wouldn't personally be upset with my husband if he looked at another beautiful woman. And your husband is a photographer, so he's seeing all kinds of women. And and as a photographer, Mr. Kenneth, he has to work with. I'll just tell y'all something. He's the first person I did a photo session with, and the way that Mr. Kenneth gets in there and work with you, I was like, ooh, we're getting mighty close. But because he's real serious with work like that. So if you were an insecure woman, I would imagine that could really be a problem. But I don't think there's anything wrong with men looking at women and admiring beautiful women. So Curtis, can you kind of explain the difference between that versus what you call the wandering eye? So what's the difference?
Okay, a wandering eye versus what you are pointing out, just because some people can look at a woman and just see her beauty and leave it at that. They give a compliment.
Okay.
And they're done.
Okay.
But a wandering eye, they don't leave it at that. They see the beauty in the woman, they give the compliment, but then they do like David did in the Bible and said, "What's her name?"
And if he had just not said what's her name, we could have kept it. We'd have been.
That's right. But see, when you go to ask more questions about what's her name and where she lives, now your wandering eye has become more than a wandering eye.
That's true.
You done passed the part of just giving a compliment. You have passed the part to where you have just seeing just her beauty, just a facial beauty or the form. You done passed all that, because now you're looking for extra. You're looking for more. So being professional, like Darcy, her husband is, being professional and just looking at them just for the photo, that's great. As a matter of fact, he's a whole lot greater than some of the guys that when they looking at an eye photo, they're taking a mental picture and they hoping to never forget that picture again.
Someone asked me about that. I do get asked, and I have been asked before about how I manage that. Your husband takes pictures of beautiful women for a living. That's what he does. And somebody said, well, what do you think about that? Well, shoot, I never even thought about it until you mentioned it. And now I gotta think it didn't occur to me that was an issue. And Kenneth, this is my second marriage. So I did a lot of things in my first marriage because I had a spouse who had a wandering eye and was unrepentant. I'm not saying that you can't make it through that, because I know so many people that God has just done something incredible. So I'm not saying that. And you cannot expect perfection when you cannot provide it. You can't be perfect, and you can expect somebody to be perfect. So you would think that I would have that issue because I've been through that. But even In my first marriage, I was not a person that was like, I'm jealous. And I'm gonna tell you what I say on the street in my non-professional voice. I don't have time to babysit your draws. I don't. I don't have time for that.
Right.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And my responsibility is to love Kenneth as hard as I can, as long as I can. That's it. And what he does is up to him. His responsibility is to love me as hard as he can, as long as he can. And when either one of us decides that we're not going to do that, that's when we have a problem. And if that's letting somebody come in or come out, it's not. How you put food on the table is taking pictures of pretty girls. I'm good. Feed us, man.
I mean, and Mr. Kenneth is so, I don't even know like, he's just not that guy. He's not that guy. I mean, you just don't, I mean, he'll tell you to twist and turn, and, he'll tuck the shirt, and he'll do, and it's totally, I felt like I was with my big brother, straightening me up to take a picture. So he's not, he's just, I don't know, I can't explain it. He's just not like that guy. Yeah, he's not that guy. And you don't feel that kind of energy from him. But Curtis, so I want to ask this question, because I know that because female viewers probably want to ask you this question. Okay. So, and thank God for your turnaround, that you're a brand new man now. Thank God for that. All right. So with the wandering eye, here's the question. And I myself, I ask men this, I still ask men this, just so I could try to understand the pathology behind. So if you already have a loving wife, a beautiful wife, which Curtis's wife, by the way, is a knockout, and she dresses up in the jewelry, and yeah, she's the real queen there. So if a man has all that, okay, and a lot of times with the wandering eye, as you call it, I don't think a lot of men, and you can help me on this, I don't think that men intend to like go into a relationship with those women that they holler at. That's what they call it now, Curtis. You holler at. I don't think that most men intend on going into a relationship. They just start asking questions, like you said, talking, flirt. So we can understand a man. What is it that's trying to be accomplished here? Is there something in your manhood and your ego that wants to see how many women will respond to me? Can you explain the man that has a wife or a woman but still has the wandering eye? What's the deal with that?
Having a wife, that's the biggest accomplishment I feel like a man can do in his life. All right, he goes after her and he pursues her. Just what the Bible says. He goes out and he pursues her. And once he gets her, he's done. But the thing, he feels like he's done. But in order to keep her, in order to keep her, then you got to keep doing things to bring her in. Because what it took to get her, it's going to take to keep her.
Okay.
All right, my father-in-law said that. What it takes to get her, it takes to keep her. The thing is, some men, they forget the part what they did to get her, and she's at the house and she's just at home. So she may look good to them. You look good, baby, while you're in the house and you go out to a party, whatever. But then your eye catches somebody else because her dress is a little tighter, or her dress may be a little shorter. Her cleavage may be looking a little better, whatever the case may be. So he starts seeing that if no one's around, well, if his wife's not around, or no one knows him is around, he go asking questions. So how long you been around here? Do you live in the area? You start asking questions that can find out how close can you get before to talk to her. Because if you're 30 miles away, that's no problem. I can make that stuff. Those type of things. Because now your eye is still on your wife. You never left your wife. Your mind is still on her. But because somebody else is over there, because they have say they have a better figure, or their face looks better, just whatever the reason is, something about that person makes you want to go talk to them.
Okay.
And so because you want to talk to them, now you got to find out all what you need to know to get close to her. The same thing you did to get your wife, but you got her. She's at home. She ain't going nowhere you think. You want to go try this out on this one. So you do the same thing. So now once you talk to her and whatever comes in after that, that's a notch right there. I got her.
Explain that notch. What is that? Because I don't think we have that. And I've heard that term.
I think we do. I disagree, Carol. I think we have that.
Do we have that?
I know some women who have that.
Okay.
I know some women who are married to great men.
Okay.
And are still out looking for a great man, and why someone does that, we talk a lot about, and I hear you say about your pathology.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something inside of us that makes us, we're insatiable as humans by nature. It's the way we are insatiable. We cannot be satisfied. We always want more. And it takes time sometimes to grow into the person that knows how to be content in whatever state you're in.
Okay, that makes sense.
The Bible talks about that. It says some of the things that God hates, and it's the eye that never gets enough. Because you always want to see more. No matter whatever it is you have at home she could be daggone, she can look just straight, just good. But for some other reason, you want to see somebody else and she can look halfway decent, but you still want to talk to her. Why?
Okay.
Because the eye never gets enough.
It never gets enough.
See a little bit more, a little bit better that you think than what you have at home. Because what you have at home can do just as good as what's out there in the street. But still, we try. That's how some men. Every man don't do this, but that's how some men do. They always can do better. They feel like, if I can just try that one right there, and I'm gonna get that notch in my belt. Hey, I still got it. I'm 45 years old, but I still got it.
So there's kind of the way I'm hearing you and Darshell explain it, like, there's kind of a euphoria of sorts, like a high, like a high to say, okay, I captured that one's attention. Let me see how many other people's attention I can capture.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And I get that. And so, and I believe we all have it. Like you said, when I think about it, I believe we all have it.
Yeah.
It's just that you learn how to tame the beast. I think that's what I'm gonna call it. You talk to you. Is that kind of how it goes, Curtis? You
eventually get to the point where you learn how to stop doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Thing is, let me say this: you on your own can't do it. A person on his own, in his own power, he can't do that, because what's in a person is always gonna come out. It's going to come out every time. Because so that means if he's a womanizer, he gonna keep doing it. If he's a drinker, he gonna keep drinking. So whatever it is in you, what takes a person to stop doing what he's doing is Christ. Christ in his life will stop doing what he's doing. But the thing is about people running women and drinking and doing whatever it is they're doing is in you. And once you get a taste of it, whatever it is, that taste never leaves. You can be saved, living for God, and that thing, the old man never died. The old man is always there. The thing is, he's always fighting against the new man. And the new man is the one where Christ is in his life. The thing is, whichever one you feed the most, that's the one that's gonna always stay hungry. That's the one you got to feed him the most, because he stays hungry enough to go get another bite, to go get another drink, to go get another look, whatever it may be, because he wants to see or do what it is you gave him that feel or that taste of, and that's what he want to do.
So that is that a constant internal battle?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I think that, and thank you, because I think that's fair for women to know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very, very fair for women to know that for most men, that's, you know, that is a intern. But for me, what I admire about you and some of the other kings that I've spoken to is that something happened, that you made a decision.
Yeah.
You know, even when I listen to you, you made a decision. What I got over here, it outweighs what everything that's out there. That kind of how it plays out.
That's the way it goes, because you got to see that what she is, the one you have at home. Like I said earlier, she can do anything all the rest of my day in the street can do. She can do that too. The thing is, why you want to go out there and find it? Talk to her about it. I mean, the Bible said the bed is undefiled. So you keep her at the house, as long as she keep you in the house, y'all, that's y'all. When the doors is closed, that's you two. You don't need to go outside looking for nobody else, because she can't throw it no better than yours.
You better teach, Curtis.
You teaching, Curtis. You
better teach.
You are teaching. This is a really profound conversation, Ms. Darshell. Because a lot of women, when you talk to them and you start talking about Black men, this is definitely one of the things that's going to come up. You know, the infidelity. They talk about things like that, and women respond to it on both sides. Let's just go and keep it real.
Yeah.
As single women, there's a response. I'm gonna just go ahead on Ms. Darshell and put this on out here to help some of us queens out tonight.
Help us out.
Okay, because there's a lot of single women. They don't care nothing about nobody being married.
You better stop playing.
I just thought I'd drop that nugget. There's a lot of single women that man can have a ring. You know, used to be men say they would take the ring off and hide it. You ain't got to even hide it, because there are some queens, I'm going to say, who had not evolved yet into their full queenship. Because when you're a total queen, you don't want what belongs to somebody else. But there are lots of women who don't really care about whether a man is married or not. You know, if they see it, they want it. And I want to say something about that. And I want you to hear me, queens, because since Curtis is talking about this, and I'm not saying that in an indicting way. One of the things about our whole project and this movement is that we strive not to judge or indict, because we're all in a process in our life. And the thing is that we want to encourage and provoke each other to change. But what I do want to say about that is that when you position yourself to become an interruption in somebody's home, because that's what that is. When you position yourself to become an interruption in somebody's home, I'd like for us, Ms. Darshell, to think about just a Black family as a total unit. That we don't want to do things to keeping us divided. You see what I'm saying? So now I'll say, for me as a single woman, I had lots of married men that approached me, tons of them. And I would just tell them, I'm going to do you and your wife a favor, and I'm not giving you my phone number, okay? You know, because I was thinking of it more in terms of that's a Black family, right. And I want to be the one that keeps that Black family, you know, together. And so, Ms. Darshell, now what is it, based on what Curtis has said? Because there's a lot I can think of right now, but that was since I'm a single woman, I wanted to appeal to single women. And Curtis, I don't know if you know this or not. I'm gonna tell a single woman's secret, okay? You know, there's something that single women find more appealing about a married man than they do a single man. I'm not even real sure what it is. Because I never liked married men, because I'm different. I want my own. Carolyn likes her own. But
I am not good at sharing. That's not my gift.
That's not my gift. And if you don't want the beast to come out in me,
baby,
I'm not sharing what belongs to
baby.
And I don't have a husband yet, but when I do have one, I'm not sharing. Okay. But you know, there's some women who find married men a lot more appealing than single men. I've talked to single women who said they would rather have a married man. Darshell, since we're talking about this,
Mm.
What would you say to women? Okay, so that's a hard situation to be in, because Curtis, you talked about your queen and how she was gonna leave at one time, but she didn't. And kudos to you, Queen Elizabeth. I mean, she's stuck in there with you. But so I guess my question is, what do you think, Darshell, or what would you would say to the women who may be dealing with the insecurity of a situation like that?
So I'm gonna make 3 points about this. Women, we are at our base biological. We have biology that causes us to behave sometimes in certain ways. And a married man to a single woman, he's a protector. He's a provider. He takes care. I look at this man and I see what I think I lack, number one. Number two, and I've had women tell me this, he's not going to want anything from me. He's trying to keep his home intact. And so I can get my physical needs met, and then we can keep it moving. Or sometimes maybe get my bills paid, different things. There's different reasons why a woman would do that.
That's right.
I had a friend some years ago who would come to me and try to explain to me why she was right in being angry with this woman, this man's wife. And she said to me, she only got pregnant because I'm pregnant. What? What? Having gone through that as a woman, whether you black, green, purple, whatever you are, I would never willfully put that into the life of a person I hated. You could be my absolute worst enemy, and the opportunity could present itself for me to destroy your family. Because as a woman, I know what that feels like. I would never willfully do that to another human. If you've not been through it, it can be catastrophic. And I watch enough ID channel to know that folks end up missing for stuff like that. I'm not going to do that to another woman. I respect my sisters too much to do that. But then the final step is this: for a man and a woman, close the door. Close the door on the opportunity that anyone could step to you. I tell anybody, can't nobody do me like Kenneth Grissom. Nobody. It ain't nothing you can say. You don't have enough money. You can't pull up in a Bentley. You can't show me a house on it. You can't do anything. Because the part of his back right here, my face fit right there. And when he lay on his side, I put my face right there. My face won't fit in your space. It fit on his. That's it. I'm not going to open a door. If a dude approaches me, and it happens all the time, oh, you really, oh, I love your hair. Yeah, you know what? My husband tells me that all the time. I'm not going to open the door. Men and women, if we're in these relationships, let's not open the door. Let's not even, let's not give sin an occasion. Because at the end of the day, and this is statistically proven, when you allow someone to come into your relationship and destroy it, chances are you don't even end up with that person. You actually end up hating or feeling you hate that person, or you have a feeling of anger or regret against that person. You don't fall in love because you already had love. So close the door. Water your own grass. Shoot.
Wow.
She said, water your own grass. The way the Bible said is drink water from your own cistern. Drink water from your own well.
Yes.
In other words, there's no need to be trying to go get no water nowhere, because you got to get water in your own yard.
In your own yard. That's right.
Curtis, you know what? I like the fact that, because now we just ain't, gonna pick on Curtis now because we got several reformed kings. I'm gonna say they're reformed now. Like Melvin. Melvin talks candidly about his days as a connoisseur of women. But I love the fact that you kings on this project, that you all have been transparent about that part of your lives. I truly, that's why when I hear you guys talk about it, I can't get upset because you guys are so transparent about it. And as a woman, this is so freeing for me to even hear men be that transparent. Do you think, Curtis, that as a Black man in a brotherhood, that together you all can help each other with those kinds of internal struggles and battles?
Yes, we whenever men get together, and we see that somebody needs help, yes, you can always help someone that's struggling in some area. The thing is, you got to have somebody strong enough to make sure that they are able to pull that one out and get his mind off of what he's trying to do or what he's thinking. So yes, brothers can help each other. Scripture says, "Iron sharpens iron." So when iron sharpens iron, you take a rock, an iron piece, and you hit it against another iron piece, it sharpens it. And so brothers hitting each other together can help each other along the way, because we're trying to help you to get where you need to be. In order to help each other get where we need to be, when I find out what your struggle is, I help you in your struggle. I don't come down to your level. I don't condescend down to your level to get where you are and go lower with you. No, I get to where you are for that moment, and then we come up together. That's iron sharpening iron. You help each other.
Good. That's good. That's good. So Curtis, you done took us to school tonight. And I love this because when we having these discussions, oftentimes women and men aren't talking about what's real. There's a comedian that says, y'all don't want to hear what's real. You don't want to talk about what's real, but these are real things. It is natural. It is normal for you to look at a woman if she's beautiful. That it's natural. You are made biologically to look at boobs and butts. That is the way you made. God designed you that way.
Right.
He made you so that things would appeal to you. That's how you're cut.
Yes.
But he also gave you will to choose. And the beauty of even getting a relationship is he has given us the will to pick the person we get to be with.
Right.
So once you pick that and you say, I am going to love this woman, I'm going to love this man the way Christ loved the church. I'm going to give myself for this person. Can you imagine Jesus going back on the promise? Man, it's unheard of.
Mm-mm.
And so we need to be able, so talking about these things helps us to understand how each of us thinks. And despite the narrative that, men want more sex and women don't want sex, and, men just want more women and women just, when we start talking about it, once again, we have some of the same wants and the same desires. And then when we talk about it like this, now we know, now it's on the table. There's no guessing. Dr. Carolyn, you asked some great questions tonight and brought some things out that as women and men, as Black women and men, once again, we are crushing the myth, the lies that have been told about who we are as a diaspora. And I love it. Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Tell it. That's good. That is good. That's good.
Yes.
So Curtis, in our close, what would you want to leave with, not just men, but with men and women, Black men and Black women, as it relates to relationships, as it relates to faith?
All right. As relating to relationships, once you find that one that makes your heart flutter, that makes your heart skip a beat, as they say, whatever it does to your body, whatever that does, once you find that one and you pull her in and she becomes yours and he becomes yours, male and female, that's the one you hold on to. Then you bring God into the picture and you won't fail. As long as God in the picture in your relationship, you won't fail. Because no matter what argument you have, what kind of disagreement you have, always remember that God is in the picture, and you can always get past that part and look at the bigger picture and look at the future of how you'll be later. Because everyone that starts out in a relationship, they start out with all this this thing of how it's going to be, and then you have all these eyes of how we first met, but you forgot years later you're gonna have days later really you're gonna have arguments. So when those arguments get out of the way, can you still make it? God is in the picture, you can still make it, because arguments only last for a few moments. You might hold a grudge for a day or two, but the argument is over. It's been over. Thing is, can you come back together as husband and wife, mend it the way God wants you to, and then keep going forward? Yes, that's what you want. You want to be able to do that. Keep your relationship strong. No matter who comes in, they only coming in for a season. Matter of fact, they just passing by. But yours is at home. She at the house cooking. She's at the house taking care of the baby. She's at the house doing whatever she's doing to keep you satisfied and happy. That's the one you go home to.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's it right here. That's it right there. Well, Curtis, I tell you what, you have given us food for our soul. I say that because when we created the I Am a Black Woman, I Am a Black Man project, a part of the initiative for the projects were so that Black women and Black men could develop a level of cohesiveness so that we could stop talking at each other and start talking to each other. And this is a part of it, is having these kinds of conversations where men can feel safe enough to be transparent, to talk about that. And I'm so glad tonight, and you and the other kings have felt transparent with Darshell and myself and on In Between Sisters, that you men could feel comfortable enough to talk about, what you did in the past without us sisters getting angry and getting upset and twirling our heads and stuff like that. Okay. We're queens. We understand life. And the thing about it is that this project, we always say, it's more than a book. It is a movement, because it's about building a Black community. It's about making our family stronger. And it's about, based on what I've even heard from you say tonight, it's about making an emphatic statement and putting it out into the atmosphere that we are Black people, we are about Black family, and we have every intention of staying together. And I'm going to say it in the words of my beloved brother, Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. As Black people, our families are stronger, and we plan on staying together. Bottom line is, let's work it out, Black people. Okay, let's just go ahead on and address these issues. Let's talk to each other and let's work it out, because it's so worth it. Thank you so much, Curtis, for joining Darshell and myself.
Thank you.
And we just love you. And thank you so much for always being so pleasing and so nice. And thank you for coming and being with us. Facebook, you have heard one of our I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings, King authors, King Curtis Holmes. And so I know that you have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, as you have all the kings, okay? And we're not done yet, because we still going to be going through here. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be back on Sunday with another one of our king authors, and we've already started posting that, but we have thoroughly enjoyed it. We enjoy your comments. Listen, have you shared? Make sure you share this broadcast so your name can be in the drawing. Okay, I will come on. I'm gonna announce the winner. You heard that, a $500 value book layout with Boss Lady Press. Make sure you push the button and share. Even if you're watching the replay, you can still hit the share button and share it. Okay, not just for the drawing, share it because this information is profound. I mean, this is This is awesome when we're hearing from the hearts and the minds of our kings. So again, thank you again, Curtis. Thank you. I know you're out there, Elizabeth, listening, and to all of you beautiful people out in Warner Robins that will be listening and supporting Curtis. Thank you so much for that. Special love to you, Darshell. We've been on here every night, girl. We've been going through and we have made it. So
We made it.
again, I just want to send everybody out there lots of love, lots of peace, lots of blessings. Again, if you hadn't purchased the book, go to www.bossladypress.com and purchase your copy of I Am a Black Man, Ascension of the Kings. Have a great night, everybody. Good
Good
night.
night.